I do it all the time. So it's no days off, no days off, no days off. Mind on my grind. So it's no days off.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of No Days Off Boxing. So we're going to combine two cards together today. The August 3rd card, Crawford versus Madrimov, and the two cards that happened this past weekend, right? So we had Vergil Ortiz versus Bohachuk, and then we had Venado Lopez versus Angelo Leo. So I'm not going to talk about all the fights on the Crawford card, or at least not in detail. But the first one I do want to talk about is Jared Anderson, right? Because that was a devastating loss, an upset. I believe me and my co-host said that was going to happen. I really didn't see the fight happening another way, man. He was very green as a pro. Bakole is experienced. He's heavy. He hits hard. And I would say the biggest mistake Jared made in that fight was his game plan. Because we know Bakole can be outboxed, right? We saw Michael Hunter do it. Although Bakole was like 30 pounds lighter in those days, it doesn't matter. He got outboxed. And to be honest, Jared was outboxing him while they were boxing. But to me, the biggest mistake that he made was when you're fighting someone with that kind of power, with those kind of heavy hands, with that size, you can't be relying on slips that much, because when you slip, inevitably, you're going to catch a clean shot. You know what I mean? That's just how it works. Now, if you feel your opponent's power and then you say, oh, okay, they got nothing for me, you could be moving with your hands down and slipping shots and just, you know, if they graze you, they graze you. But the thing is, when Jared actually had his hands up, he would take shots on his gloves and he would be cool. But every once in a while, he'll put his left hand down and have his right glove up and he'll get popped. And I'm like, bro, stop putting your hands down. Like, and that's not, obviously, if you haven't been training like that, it's going to be difficult because you're going to be used to doing whatever. That's the problem. They should have been prepared to have his hands up the whole time. Because while he was moving well, he was moving well. And then that's the other thing, too. I don't know why he didn't just straight up try to outbox him, stay light on his feet, move around. Maybe he didn't have the stamina for that. He probably didn't. But going toe-to-toe with a tank like that is a horrible idea. So that was that. Bro, from the first round, I was like, bro, I was surprised it went as far as it did, to be honest. He was like trying to make some adjustments, but nah. So what's next for him, right? I think I saw an interview that Jarrell Miller did, and it was a very move, dude, move. It was a good interview, and he said Jared needed to take his time and fight some, you know, basically some no-name fighters to work his way back up. And I agree with that, man. I think people have been saying, oh, they should put him against Wilder next. They should put him against Jarrell Miller next. I think that's not going to be good. Not for his confidence, not for his career, not for his brain, not for nothing. I think Jarrell Miller and him will be a good fight, but I think he'll probably end the same way, to be honest, especially him coming off of that loss like that. He's not going to have the same confidence. So I think he needs to take a couple of steps back, man. He's young. I don't even know if he really wants to box like that. I've seen interviews where he don't really sound like his heart is in it. So he needs to figure out what he wants to do. But if he doesn't care and he just wants to make money, him versus Jarrell Miller will probably get people's attention. They probably would want to see that. So that would be cool. Speaking of Jarrell Miller, I think on the same note, in that same interview, he was saying that he knew Andy Ruiz. They were really good friends. And I feel like it showed in the fight. I feel like by the time it got into the back half of the fight, to me, it was clear that Jarrell Miller could step on the gas, and he kind of just wasn't doing it. And he said he basically cried when he saw Andy Ruiz's son crying. And so I was like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Like, at first I was like, okay, he got stopped by Dubois late, so he's trying to not gas out too early. But then I'm like, I don't know, man. It's kind of just chilling. And so, like I said, that explanation made sense. I don't even want to talk about that fight too much. It's not really worth talking about. Next fight, Rayo versus Cruz. I told y'all, I've been telling y'all, you know, I sounded like a Cruz hater, but I'm not really hating. I just don't think he's that good. Congrats to him and all that he's achieved up to this point. But I think he's gonna have a sharp decline, bro. If he's not fighting someone that will stand still and just trade with him, he don't be looking good, bro. Uh, like I said the last podcast, him versus Cabrera. I'm like, yeah, Cabrera's tall. He's a southpaw, but you should be able to figure something out. If you can't figure nothing out, you ain't that good. To me, that's just my opinion. Um, he really didn't look amazing versus Gervonta Davis. Everyone says he did. That's where all his clout comes from, to be honest. But like, obviously, Gervonta's hand was hurt, and so I'm like, if you getting picked apart by somebody with one hand, you're not that good, right? And so I don't want to see a rematch. I think they might try to make a rematch. If Rajo's smart, he won't take it. If Cruz is smart, he won't take it. Because if you lose back to back to the same person, your career is really gonna be looking ugly. So, but yeah, I think Rajo did a good job in that fight, just outboxing him. Yeah. When I said he was gonna outbox him, people were like, "You crazy? Rajo can't box like that." I'm like, bro, y'all do not be watching this dude fight. Like, he can box. Half of that is the reason why he lost against Colbert. Like, lost against Colbert because he wasn't actually trying to get him out of there the first time. He's just chilling on the outside boxing. He thought he was winning the fight. I did too, but obviously the judges didn't think that. So he can box, man. He ain't the greatest boxer in the world, not yet, but he's better than Isaac Cruz. I can tell you that much. So what's next for him? I don't really know. I don't really know what's next for either one of them, to be honest, because Isaac Cruz is in a spot where like he can quickly fall out of the stardom if he has a bad next fight. So he has to be real careful about who he faces. If I was him, I would not face anyone with crazy power or anyone that's super light on their feet. So if I was him, I would not fight Shakur Stevenson. Horrible idea. You're going to look stupid. If I was him, I wouldn't fight De Los Santos. De Los Santos going to fuck you up, straight up. Same thing for Rajo, though. Like, I wouldn't give De Los Santos that rematch. I wouldn't do it. Or I guess I wouldn't take the rematch. I should say it like that, right? I wouldn't take that rematch unless you really feel like you could get that get back. I don't see it happening. De Los Santos is good, man. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. He has lost, but the dude hits hard, and he's got some good reflexes. He's got some decent boxing. Like obviously him in the Shakur fight, it looks silly, but I think he's pretty good. So like I said, I don't know what's next for Rajo, man. I don't even know because that belt is at 142. Oof, I have no idea. I got to come back to that. I got to think on that. Maybe next podcast I'll tell y'all what I think his next step should be. But right now, I don't know who he would fight. I don't know what's gonna be a good fight. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the actual Crawford fight because to me there's not too much to talk about. I think he did what he needs to do to win. There's been some people saying that they thought Madrimov won. I definitely didn't think that. That fight was closer than I thought it was gonna be. I knew Madrimov was good. I've seen his amateur fights. I've seen him fight in the pros, and he fought differently than I think everyone expected. Because Crawford haters and Crawford lovers alike, they said Madrimov was gonna try to bully him, but he didn't do that. And that's what I be trying to tell y'all. Like, what y'all think of fighters and what fighters think of fighters, two different things. You could think, oh, Madrimov's gonna just run through him once he blah blah blah. Bro, when you see somebody smart and they're thinking and you feel that power, you be like, oh, I need to think too. And that's what was happening, bro. They were both sitting in front of each other trying to play chess. Madrimov wasn't trying to rush up in there, bro. I thought he was gonna do it. To be honest, I thought he was gonna be stupid and get caught doing something stupid, but I mean, he fought a good fight. He's just not better than Crawford, at least not on that night. Not in my opinion. And so, like I said, I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. I think that Madrimov win is going to age very well for Crawford. I think Madrimov is going to beat a lot of people at 154. I think most people at 154 can't beat him, to be honest. What does Crawford do next? Maybe try to get Vergil Ortiz. I know Vergil Ortiz said he wants the winner of Spence Fundora, but I think Crawford would smoke Vergil Ortiz. Matter of fact, let's talk about the Vergil Ortiz fight. That was a good fight, man. I don't think I gave a prediction on that fight. I don't think I cared that much. But I don't think he won the fight. I'm gonna just put that out there. I'm not gonna call it a robbery. But he got knocked down twice. And to me, Bohachuk was pushing the pace a lot. I do think Vergil's punches were way more effective. I'll throw that out there. I think when he was turning up, it was obvious that he was the stronger, more aggressive fighter. But like I said, you got dropped twice. A lot of the rounds were up in the air because they were going back and forth. You know, Bohachuk was walking him down, but he didn't have the same power. So I don't know. Vergil gets kind of wild sometimes, man. He just kind of loses his head and he's like, "Fuck it, let's fight." I'm like, bro, your jab, bro. When he was flicking the jab, it was beautiful, and then he would just stop. He'd just be like, "Nah, I don't want to do that. It's working too well. I want to fight." I'm like, bro, keep jabbing. It's working. Why are you doing that, bro? Why are you going away from what's working so well? So yeah, I didn't think he won. I could have seen a draw. I could have seen Bohachuk by one round, maybe two. And that's what I thought was happening. They said the first card was a draw. Then they said overturned by two judges, and they said 114, 112. I said, oh yeah, Bohachuk took that. And then they said, nah. They said Vergil Ortiz. And I was like, man, that had to be a money move, man. Because I was like, okay, they've been talking about Vergil versus Bud. So I'm like, okay, they need Vergil to win because that's how he's gonna fight Bud. Move, bro. I'm trying to do a video. I'm like, yeah, they doing that because they want Vergil to fight Bud. But then when they interviewed him, he said he want to fight Spence or Fundora, whoever wins. So that's what I think would be next for him. I think if Crawford can get that, bro, I think that's an easy fight for Crawford, bro. Vergil swings so wide. I think he doesn't hit as hard as people think he does. He obviously hits hard, but it's like a brute force kind of hard, and I don't think Crawford would get hit by none of that stuff. And if Bohachuk was taking it, I think Crawford is gonna be able to handle it. So I think the upset of the night was Angelo Leo knocking out Venado Lopez. And if y'all follow me on Twitter, I said that was gonna happen. I said I was going for Angelo Leo. I think Lopez is good, but I think when you fight aggressive and no defense, it's a ticking time bomb, man. Somebody's gonna counter you. Somebody's gonna be better than you at boxing, and they're gonna catch you. You could beat a lot of people up, but eventually, there's always a night where you're not beating somebody up. So, and that's why I don't go too hard on Shakur, because if he's having an off night, he's probably not gonna get knocked out because he's still being super defensively responsible, right? And those guys gotta think about their health. They gotta think about their families. And man, it was crazy sad, bro. I'm not gonna say I almost cried or nothing, but when they had Lopez after he got knocked out, they picked him up so fast, bro, and they had him on a stool, and he's like, "Donde estamos? Donde estamos?" He's like, "Where we at?" He didn't know where he was at, bro, and I'm like, bro, that makes me sad, bro. That makes me sad. You never know, like, what kind of brain damage he has. You don't know if he's gonna be able to come back to the level that he was at. So hopefully he's good. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know what his next steps would be either. But for now, he needs to focus on his health and his defense. No disrespect. Outside of that, oh yeah, I got a suggestion to start suggesting a throwback fight for y'all to watch. So one of my favorite fights of all time is Mike McCallum versus Julian Jackson. And to me, it was kind of like the Crawford versus Spence fight, to me, in my opinion. A lot of people didn't see it. I thought it was very similar. Mike McCallum was old, the body snatcher. If y'all don't know Mike McCallum, he's one of the most underrated boxers of all time. He was older. He wasn't as heavy-handed as Julian Jackson. Julian Jackson was the young, undefeated fighter from the Virgin Islands, destroying everybody with that crazy power he has. And Mike McCallum beat him in 2 rounds, picked him apart, destroyed him nasty, bro. He took his best punch, And after that, jabbing his face off, body snatching, just avoiding all shots, just making him look stupid. And he just broke him, bro, in 2 rounds, bro. And so I think y'all would love that fight if y'all are into boxing. So every podcast, I'm going to recommend a throwback fight. I don't know what's considered throwback. I don't know how old it has to be. I be thinking I'm young, and then I'll be like, I say something about a boxer, and people be like, yeah, but that dude's from like the 90s or the 2000s. I'm like, well, that was when I was a kid. I didn't know that was a throwback fight, bro. I thought that was considered recent. So I gotta, y'all gotta tell me what's considered a throwback, and I will recommend y'all some good throwback fights. I got a whole database up here of good fights that I've seen. So I try to keep this episode short and sweet, but still talk about the stuff. If y'all want the next one to be longer or shorter, all you gotta do is just let me know, and I will adjust it accordingly. The next card, I don't even know what the next card is, but if the cards are trash, or if there's a really big card and then the next card is like kind of short, nothing exciting happened. Like, to me, there was only 2 big fights this past weekend. So I say, you know what? I'm gonna just wait, and I'll combine the Crawford card and this card together. If there's gonna be 2 big cards back to back, I'll probably do an episode for both. If not, then I might just wait until the following weekend and combine 2 cards together. Kind of depends. Like I said, I'm always open to suggestions. I'm really doing this for y'all. So if you want it done a certain way, or if like a certain card is important to you and you say, can you please make a video directly after this card and don't wait till the next weekend, I'll do it. I'm with whatever. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I will see y'all next time. No days off, baby.